Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of Premier Energies.
Premier Energies.
They're making some serious waves in India's solar energy scene.
Yeah, they are.
Fresh off their IPO, they're setting some pretty ambitious goals, and we're here to unpack their game plan.
We are.
See where the risks are, and basically try to figure out what this means for their future.
Absolutely. And to kick off this deep dive, we have an interesting piece of source material.
Okay.
It's the transcript from Premier Energies Q2FY25 earnings conference call.
All right.
So this is really where the company lays out their financials, their strategy, and answers questions from analysts.
Sounds like a gold mine of information.
It is. It's a treasure trove.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
How is Premier Energies actually performing?
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is their recent performance has been pretty stellar.
Yeah, you're right. Their revenue for Q2FY25 hit a big number.
Okay.
INR 1,553.59 crores.
Wow.
A 121.4% increase year on year.
That's massive.
Yeah, they're riding a wave of success.
They are. But revenue is only part of the story.
Right.
What about their profitability? Are they actually making money?
Absolutely. Their EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization,
Right.
skyrocketed by 280.2% to INR 406.95 crores.
Okay.
Their profit after tax more than quadrupled
Really?
to INR 205.95 crores.
So they're not just growing, they're growing and making bank.
Exactly. They're doing it profitably.
That's what we like to see. But any savvy investor knows that past performance doesn't guarantee future success.
Right.
What is Premier Energies doing to keep this momentum going?
Well, they're not resting on their laurels.
Okay.
They've got some pretty aggressive expansion plans.
Like what?
Starting with the 1GW 2-Pecan cell line expansion.
It's going
to be up and running by Q4 FY25.
Okay, hold on. T2 pecan.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of our listeners might not be familiar with that term. What exactly is 2 pecan?
Sure.
And why is it a big deal for Premier Energies?
You're right. Not everyone knows all the technical jargon. TOPECON stands for tunnel oxide passivated contact.
Okay.
It's basically a technology that makes solar cells more efficient.
So they can convert more sunlight into electricity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by expanding their top pecan capacity, Premier Energies is going all in on this cutting-edge technology.
So it sounds like they're being strategic about their expansion.
Yeah.
Not just expanding for the sake of expanding, but choosing which technologies to invest in.
Right.
Smart. What else is on their expansion agenda?
Well, get this, they're also moving into wafer manufacturing
Okay.
with a 2GW facility planned for FY26.
Wafer manufacturing, that's a big deal.
It is.
Where do wafers exactly?
So wafers are the building blocks of solar cells.
Right.
And this move means that they'll have greater control over their supply chain.
Which in such a, fast-paced industry is a huge advantage.
Absolutely, a huge advantage.
So they're trying to control more of the production process.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. It's not just about growth. It's about long-term stability and profitability, too.
Yeah, exactly. This is vertical integration.
Vertical integration.
And it could be a game changer for them.
How so?
Well, it'll reduce their reliance on external suppliers.
Okay.
They can lower costs, improve quality control, and react more quickly to changes in the market.
Makes sense. But let's face it, no business is without its risks.
True.
Even with their strong performance and these ambitious plans, what are some of the challenges that could trip up Premier Energies?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No business is immune to challenges.
For sure.
One of the biggest ones they're facing is the increasing competition.
Okay.
In the Indian solar market, there are a lot of new players entering the cell manufacturing space.
And that could affect their market share and profitability.
Potentially, yeah.
So how can they stay ahead in such a crowded market? Are they relying solely on their experience and track record, or do they have other tricks up their sleeve?
Well, their focus on this backward integration, like getting into wafer manufacturing, is definitely a key part of their strategy.
Right.
It's a differentiator.
How so?
It allows them to offer a more comprehensive and potentially cost-effective solution.
So by controlling more of the supply chain, they can offer competitive prices and kind of gain an edge over those relying on external suppliers.
Exactly.
It's not just about cost, though, is it? It's also about quality control and reliability.
Right.
By owning more of the production process, Premier Energies can ensure those higher standards throughout.
Yeah.
Which in the end is a big selling point for customers.
Absolutely.
So it's a multi-pronged approach to tackling competition. Not just by being cheaper, but by being better and more reliable.
Exactly.
What other risks are they facing? I know we touched on U.S. expansion earlier.
Right. Their U.S. ambitions present both opportunities and challenges.
Okay.
They have this planned 1 GW facility in partnership with Helion,
Right.
a U.S.-based module manufacturer. But the U.S. market, it's a bit of a wild card right now.
In what way?
With the potential policy shifts surrounding the Inflation Reduction Act.
The IRA.
The IRA.
That's been making headlines lately.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the IRA is?
Sure.
And why it has Premier Energies taking a wait-and-watch approach?
So the Inflation Reduction Act, or IRA, includes a bunch of incentives and tax breaks
Okay.
designed to boost clean energy in the U.S.
Right?
It's been a major driver of growth for the solar industry there.
I can imagine.
But the new administration's stance on the IRA is still a little bit unclear.
Okay.
And that creates some uncertainty for companies like Premier Energies that are looking to invest in the U.S.
So it's a gamble for them right now.
Yeah.
They could benefit hugely if the IRA stays favorable,
Right.
but they could also face setbacks if policies change. It's a tricky situation.
It is a delicate balancing act.
It is, and this uncertainty just adds another layer of complexity to their expansion plans.
It does.
They need to be cautious and weigh the potential risks and rewards before making any big commitments in the U.S. market. Okay? And let's not forget about the risks closer to home. I'm thinking about their reliance on government schemes like KUSUM,
Right.
which aims to promote those solar-powered irrigation pumps.
Yeah, the KUSUM scheme. This is where things get interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
The success of this scheme hinges on farmer participation.
Okay.
However, the adoption rate has been slower than they anticipated,
Mm-hmm.
which could impact the demand for Premier Energies products.
So it's not just about building solar panels.
No.
It's about ensuring there's a market for them.
Exactly.
If farmers aren't adopting these technologies as quickly as expected,
Right.
it could create a roadblock for their growth.
For sure. Especially in the domestic market.
So they're closely tied to the success of these government initiatives.
They are.
And while these schemes have a lot of potential,
Yeah.
they also come with uncertainties and challenges
A lot of uncertainty.
that Premier Energies needs to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got competition,
Right.
policy uncertainty in key markets, potential hiccups in domestic demand.
Uh-huh.
It seems like they've got a lot on their plate. But let's not forget,
Right.
they are riding high on impressive financials
Yeah.
and some very strategic expansion plans.
They are.
So how do we make sense of it all?
Yeah.
What's the overall outlook for Premier Energies, given all of these moving pieces?
It is. It's a mix of exciting potential, but yeah, there are some very real challenges.
Well, so they got a lot to consider.
Yeah, they do, but they're not shying away from these challenges. I mean,
That's
they're
okay.
actively trying to manage them. To deal with potential price fluctuations in raw materials,
Okay.
like polysilicon, for example.
Polysilicon, right?
They're exploring different strategies.
Polysilicon, that sounds familiar.
It does, doesn't it?
Didn't we talk about that earlier?
Yeah,
When we were discussing their expansion into wafer manufacturing?
you got it.
What's the connection here? Why is polysilicon so important?
You had a good memory? Yeah, we did touch upon that. See, polysilicon is the main ingredient to making those wafers,
Right.
which, as we know, are the building blocks of solar cells.
Exactly.
The price of polysilicon can be volatile, though,
Okay.
subject to global supply and demand.
So it could really impact Premier Energies' production costs
It could?
and ultimately their profitability.
Yeah, it's kind of a domino effect. If the price of polysilicon goes up,
Yeah.
it can make their solar panels more expensive.
And potentially hurt their competitiveness.
Exactly.
So how do they deal with that?
Well, they're looking at ways to mitigate this risk.
Okay.
One option is to diversify their sourcing.
Okay, so they wouldn't rely on just one or two suppliers.
Exactly. Spread the risk.
Makes sense.
What else? Another strategy is to secure long-term contracts with suppliers.
Okay, so locking in those prices and ensuring a steady supply.
That's right.
Smart thinking. Any other options they're considering?
Let me think.
I vaguely remember them mentioning something about the government's PLI scheme
Yes.
during the earnings call.
They indicated that they might be open to sourcing polysilicon from Indian suppliers
Okay.
if it becomes available under the government's production-linked incentive scheme.
The PLI scheme, remind me what that is again.
So this scheme is designed to boost domestic manufacturing
Okay,
of key components,
got it. Including polysilicon.
including polysilicon.
So it's not just about managing risk here.
Right.
It's also about aligning themselves with the government's vision of a self-reliant India.
Exactly.
By supporting local suppliers, they're helping grow the entire solar ecosystem in India.
Yeah, and that ultimately benefits them too.
Right, in the long run.
In the long run.
So it's a smart move.
Very smart.
Helps manage risk.
Yep.
Strengthens those relationships with the government. And potentially gives the entire industry a boost.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to their overall outlook.
Sure.
Where do you see Premier Energies headed?
I think the future looks bright, but it's not going to be easy. There will be bumps along the way.
So they're in the driver's seat,
Yes.
but they've got to keep their eyes on the road.
Right.
Be ready for those unexpected turns.
Exactly. What are some of the key things to watch out for as the story unfolds?
Yeah, what should we be paying attention to?
Well, keep an eye on how they handle the competitive pressure.
Oh, okay, yeah, the competition's heating up.
It is. Can their experience, their strategic initiatives, this focus on backward integration, can all that help them maintain their edge?
Maintain their profitability as the market gets more crowded.
Exactly. That's definitely something to watch.
What else?
Their U.S. expansion plans are a bit of a wild card.
Right.
How will they adapt to any changes in policy over there?
Yeah, how will they leverage the opportunities presented by the IRA?
Right, or find alternatives if they have to.
So the U.S. market is a big question mark.
It is a big question mark.
What about here in India? Anything else that could affect Premier Energies' trajectory?
The success of those government schemes like Kusum will be crucial.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, can Premier Energies stimulate further farmer adoption of those solar pumps?
Right, because that will drive demand for their products.
Exactly.
It's interesting how much their success is tied to the government's push for renewable energy.
It is.
One final question. How are they planning to deal with all the ups and downs in the global market for raw materials? We talked about polysilicon.
Yeah.
But what about other materials? Are there any other concerns?
That's a great question. And it really speaks to the bigger issue of supply chain resilience,
Right.
which is critical for any manufacturing business.
Especially in a globalized world like ours.
Especially in a globalized world.
So they need to make sure those supply chains are stable
Absolutely.
and manage those price fluctuations for all their key materials.
Yeah. If they want long-term success.
So it's more than just making solar panels.
It is.
It's about logistics and policy and a bit of fortune-telling all rolled into one.
You could say that they're operating at this intersection of technology,
Right.
policy, global economics.
It's complex.
It is. Premier Energies needs to understand and navigate these complex forces.
If they want to succeed.
If they want to succeed. This deep dive has been really insightful.
It has. It has. We've learned so much about Premier Energies.
We have.
Their financials, their expansion plans, the risks and the challenges.
But beyond the numbers,
Yeah.
what really stands out to me is their commitment to this backward integration.
Yeah.
Their focus on securing that supply chain.
Absolutely. It really shows their long-term vision.
It does. They get it, you know. They understand how the solar industry is changing.
And they're not just along for the ride.
No, they're trying to shape it.
They're in the driver's seat.
They are. And I thought it was really interesting how they're willing to explore that polysilicon sourcing from those Indian suppliers.
Right. Potentially under the PLI scheme.
Yeah. It shows they're not just thinking about their own profits. They're thinking about the bigger picture.
The role they play in building up a domestic solar ecosystem in India.
It's not just about business success.
Right.
It's about creating value for all the stakeholders.
The communities and industries they work with.
Exactly. It's refreshing to see a company that gets the power of collaboration.
Yeah. It's not just about winning.
No.
It's about creating a thriving industry where everyone can benefit.
A more sustainable approach to business.
Environmentally and economically.
That's right. Speaking of sustainability,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice the passion, the commitment that the management team expressed during that earnings call about renewable energy.
Yes.
About building a sustainable future.
They were so enthusiastic.
They were. It's clear that they're not just in it for the money.
Yeah.
They believe in this mission of clean energy.
Yeah, and that kind of authenticity, it really makes a difference.
It does. It resonates with investors, customers, employees.
People want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Something that's making a positive impact.
Exactly.
And it seems like Premier Energies is offering that.
It's a good story. They're a company on a mission.
They are?
They're taking those bold steps to reach their goals.
This deep dive has been eye-opening.
It has.
Premier Energies is doing some truly innovative things.
Yeah.
And they have a vision that goes beyond just profits.
They're a company to watch, that's for sure.
They are. Their journey is going to be fascinating to follow.
Absolutely. As they navigate this global energy transition.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But there's one more little nugget from the earnings call that I want to touch upon.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They mentioned their plans to eventually get into ingot manufacturing. Which is another step further back in that solar value chain.
Right. Ingots are the raw material for those wafers.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that they'd want to control that part of the process too.
It's a natural progression of their vertical integration strategy.
It is. But what stood out to you?
Well, they specifically mentioned that they'd be open to sourcing the polysilicon,
right,
the raw material for the ingots, from Indian suppliers.
Okay.
If it becomes available under the PLI scheme.
Interesting. So their commitment to supporting that local supply chain,
yeah,
it goes beyond just the wafers.
Right.
It extends to the very beginning of that solar manufacturing process.
It really highlights how important government policies are in shaping the growth of these renewable energy industries.
It does.
The PLI scheme is a great example.
It is.
How governments can incentivize domestic manufacturing and reduce that reliance on imports.
Exactly. And Premier Energies on board.
They're ready to participate.
They understand the policy landscape.
They know how to align their business with those national priorities.
They're savvy.
They are. It's a reminder that success in this sector, it's not just about technology and innovation.
It's more than that.
It's about navigating all of these complex forces.
You got it. Government policies, global supply chains,
market dynamics.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is. Premier Energies is a fascinating case study.
It is.
How companies can really thrive in this rapidly changing industry. By embracing collaboration, strategic thinking, and having that long-term vision.
This deep dive has given me a whole new appreciation.
Me too.
For the solar energy market.
Yeah.
The challenges.
The opportunities.
Premier Energies seems to be taking those challenges head on.
They are. And I'm really excited to see where this journey takes them.
It's a good reminder that even in a sector like renewable energy, you need a solid strategy.
Right.
You need that commitment to always be improving.
And you have to really understand the market and all the players involved.
All the stakeholders.
Yeah.
And speaking of the global landscape, we talked about Premier Energies being cautious with their U.S. expansion.
Right. They're waiting for more clarity on that IRA.
Smart move. The U.S. market is huge.
Huge.
But it's also really sensitive to those policy changes. Premier Energies is showing that they're ambitious. But they're also being prudent with that international expansion.
It's a tough balancing act.
It is.
But they seem to be doing pretty well, taking those risks.
Calculated risks.
Yeah, but also staying agile.
Adaptable.
Adaptable, exactly. Well, this deep dive has been fascinating.
It has.
We've explored the world of Premier Energies.
The Indian solar industry.
We saw their impressive performance.
Those bold expansion plans.
We talked about the challenges and the opportunities in this really competitive market.
It's a great reminder that business success is not just about the numbers.
No.
It's about strategy, innovation, resilience, and understanding those forces that are shaping the industry.
And Premier Energies seems to have it all.
They do. They're a prime example of how businesses can succeed in this clean energy future.
I'm excited to see what they do next.
Me too. They have a clear vision.
And the drive to make it happen.
They do. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for everyone to think about. Premier Energies is a leader in the Indian solar market, right?
They are.
But how will their success impact other players in the industry?
Interesting question.
Could their focus on vertical integration?
Backward expansion?
Global ambition? Could that set a new standard for everyone else?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
It is. The solar industry is constantly changing.
Evolving.
And companies like Premier Energies are driving that evolution.
With their innovative strategies and those bold investments.
It's going to be fascinating to see if they inspire others.
Yeah.
And how they ultimately shape the future of renewable energy.
In India and beyond. Well, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
Until then.
Keep learning. Keep questioning and keep diving deep.